Hey everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel. You joined me for a very special one. I am currently here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. They can see right behind me here in the middle of the track. Actually the first time I've ever been here, and it's a very cool opportunity. But as you can see, there's a bunch of General Motors products vehicles behind me, including the all-electric Sierra EV and that of the Hummer EV. Yes, that's right. We are going to be taking this Hummer EV for a pretty sizable road trip, actually just over 300 miles from my current location back to the dealership where this vehicle is going to end up being sold. This is actually a General Motors product demonstration vehicle, so it was used here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where they actually bring out sales staff and dealership personnel to let them experience the product and actually drive and get behind the wheel and just generally learn more about it. So this is one of those vehicles. I think it has just over 130 miles on the odometer. It's actually quite dirty here on the outside, but on the inside as well, given it was likely used for some off-road demonstration types of purposes. But they were kind enough to charge this vehicle up to 100% state of charge, and we'll jump onto the interior here in a second, where it actually is estimating well over 300 miles of range. But actually ambient conditions are not optimal to get the best efficiency, especially when you're driving a brick like this vehicle down the road. We actually have some westerly winds, so we're going to be heading back west, which means we're going to be heading pretty much directly into the wind, which should impact our efficiency quite a lot. But overall, we'll have to hop inside the vehicle, obviously get back on the roadway and see how far we can make it. But I do have the GM specified Tesla to CCS adapter, and this vehicle should be capable of charging on the Tesla Supercharger network. So if we do need to stop and charge, because range is going to be an issue, and we might stop and charge anyway just to experience the Supercharger here with GM's latest products. We have that adapter, and the Tesla Supercharger network has a few different options between here and my final destination. So I am not worried about it one bit, but I am very excited to experience the Hummer electric truck here in the, I believe this is a 3X trim level, so not the fully loaded one, but pretty well equipped as it is in this nice Aurora metallic exterior. So here's going to be a quick look at the way that this Hummer is set up. Like I said, the Aurora metallic has a good amount of metallic here in direct sunlight. This one looks absolutely phenomenal. Of course, you have the all-terrain tires, air suspension, four-wheel steering, the whole 9 yards. Ooh, look, a little dime. But overall, I am very excited to get a little bit more time behind the wheel of the truck version of the Hummer, because believe it or not, I have actually spent a little bit of time with the SUV, but not the truck. So stepping inside, you can see obviously is a little bit dirty from the demonstration purposes that they have used. Now, as you can see here from the dashboard, 100% stated charge, 352 miles of estimated range, 138 miles on the odometer. And we're going to see just how far, or I guess how quickly this number does start to drop given our, revised efficiency. But this vehicle does have a massive over 200 kilowatt hour battery pack. So who knows, maybe we will be able to squeak by if we really wanted to, roughly 300 miles of distance traveled. Now, one other item I want to point out here on the infotainment screen is wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay is on this vehicle. This is actually one of the few electric vehicles from General Motors that still supports this function on this larger infotainment system. So I really do like that, because I immediately paired my phone and immediately went to use this versus the built-in Google integration that we know all of them do come with. But I really do like how the Hummer still supports that. I think this is a 2025 model year vehicle. I could be wrong, could be 2024. But it is also going to be equipped with SuperCruise, so I am very excited to hopefully try this out as long as everything is set up and able to be functional. Alrighty, well, I go ahead and sit here and enjoy some quick lunch before hopping on the road. I did some quick math and calculations based on some approximate efficiency numbers. I'm not exactly sure if that's actually going to come true with the headwind that we're going to be facing, but it's saying 352, not exactly sure what efficiency number that is using. But if we use roughly 200 kilowatt hours in the pack, it is a lot bigger than that, but that's kind of just a conservative estimate for these rough calculations. If we use 1.6 to 1.7 miles per kilowatt hour as efficiency, in theory we can go 325 miles on a single charge. Now, this will be interesting, this trip, because of the 30-mile-an-hour gusts, mostly in the headwind direction. If we get 1.6 miles per kilowatt hour, I might actually be surprised. This might be a perfect situation, perfect storm for some really poor efficiency in this Hummer, given it's like a brick driving into a 20+ mile-an-hour headwind. I think we have plenty of range to get to at least Peoria, Illinois, from Indianapolis here, you know, just outside the track a couple miles. So that is the last Tesla Supercharger with a CCS adapter compatible V3 station to stop at before we get back to the Quad Cities. So I guess that is going to be the plan right now as of me leaving. And before anybody gets upset about me having a snack inside the car, you guys saw how dirty this thing is on the inside. It is truly very dirty and will be fully reconditioned and cleaned prior to me being available for sale. So just want to put that out there. Yes, I know it is dirty on the inside, but I'm not making it worse by any means. So you join me literally 3 minutes after getting on I-74 heading back to the Quad Cities, and immediately, well, number one is there's some audible whistling coming inside of the cabin, not only due to how windy it is today, but also just probably due to driving the Hummer at over 70 miles an hour with these removable tops, you know, and the brick into the wind mentality, if you will. But certainly the headwind today does not help. Now, according to my trip information that I reset at the track itself, we're currently still losing efficiency at 1.3 miles per kilowatt hour, which is terrible. And that is similar efficiency to if you were towing a massive trailer behind the vehicle. And here we are just heading into a brutal headwind. So this is going to be a very interesting trip if it continues to tick down. But I have not yet tried to activate SuperCruise quite yet, just because still a little bit traffic going on. But we will go ahead and try that here in a second. But man, this is shaping up to be a very inefficient electric drive home. Alright, so I just went ahead and activated adaptive cruise control. SuperCruise is now active. There's a green light here on the steering wheel, and we are now super cruising. This is awesome. This is exactly why you need SuperCruise on these longer distance road trips, because it makes them an absolute breeze. Oh my gosh, it just did an automatic lane change around slow traffic. Oh, this is so awesome, man. This is so awesome. So what's interesting about the Hummer EV's information up on the digital dash is that we're down to 340 miles of estimated range based on the state of charge, but nowhere on the screen am I seeing a way to see a percentage of state of charge left. It's just that bar graph, 0% to 100%, as we do an automatic lane change back to the right lane. So without that, I kind of have to go by the increments that it gives me and do a little bit of, you know, rough estimation or a guess as to the exact percentage state of charge. But I know that's something that GM has resolved in the Chevy side of things, and, you know, maybe on the GMC Sierra side of things. But with the Hummer, I guess I'm not exactly sure if I'm missing something, or you can go to a different page, maybe up here on the main display or over here on the digital dash, to actually give you a percentage readout for state of charge, rather than just the, you know, general vague bar graph. So unfortunately, I kind of missed that on video, but maybe I'll be able to get another scenario where that happens. There was a semi-truck coming on to an on-ramp from either a rest stop or just an on-ramp in general, and SuperCruise was fairly quick to pick up on that merging traffic, and about halfway through the merge lane was able to already be in the other lane to give space for that truck if it was a further, further along on the on-ramp itself. You know, regular driver assistance features, well, A, they won't do that, but B, regular drivers out on the roadway half the time will not allow merging traffic onto the actual roadway, even if it's clear in the left lane. So that is a huge bonus of SuperCruise, and it performed very well. I'm actually very surprised at how well and how quick to react it was to actually get over to the left lane. Like I said, there's times where I have to literally slow down in the merge lane because people are not kind enough to recognize there's oncoming traffic and move to the left lane despite there being no other cars around, and it's easy for them to do so. So you joined me just a couple minutes after that last clip, and out of the blue, we didn't change roads or anything, but SuperCruise disengaged because it said there was no road information available. Now, okay, I just pressed the button again and it just automatically re-engaged. So that's kind of frustrating because not only does it disengage within like seconds, like 2 or 3 seconds, it flashes red, says no road information, it says take control, and starts slowing down. It doesn't even like keep your adaptive cruise control on, it actually like slows down the vehicle. And then just like less than a mile later, you're able to re-engage SuperCruise and it has the road information. So like, what is there, 1 mile of roadway back there where there's no road information and the system can't, you know, figure its way along between those 2 points? That's, I don't know, that is a little bit frustrating. And I'm not sure why we're not doing an automatic lane change right here. Going slow traffic at 65 miles an hour. Oh, what is this thing doing? SuperCruise unavailable. It just got halfway through the automatic lane change and it said SuperCruise unavailable and like made me make control of the vehicle because it was like all over the place, and then just re-engaged. What is going on right here? It was going so well. I was so happy with the system, and then all of a sudden we're having all these issues all of a sudden. Okay, so one of the aspects that I was most curious about also is road construction and lane closures. How does the system handle that? Well, for one, Google Maps, on my navigation told me there was a lane closure ahead. SuperCruise was engaged. The truck got over in front of me for the lane closure, and you can see it actually just disengaged right there with the blue line, even though, yeah. So SuperCruise lets you control the vehicle, it seems like, with the lane closure, but it was trying to do a lane change basically into the cones, or just at the start of the cones, because the truck, slowed down in front of me. Actually, I'm fairly impressed with how SuperCruise let me navigate that shoulder maneuver without actually trying to like rip the wheel out of my hands or anything. It was just kind of like letting me do its thing. Still engaged right now with the green line, although it's definitely trying to hunt around for the lane. SuperCruise caution construction zone, drive with care. Cool. So it recognized that we are indeed in a construction zone, and it's telling me to be careful, but it is still engaged. The more you know. Pretty dang cool. So my guess is, I'm wondering where it's pulling the driving data from, but I could see people, with SuperCruise equipped vehicles driving through this construction zone. It's mapping, obviously, sending that data into a server wherever they keep and store their data. So other SuperCruise equipped vehicles can also navigate this. And like the steering input I did over that bridge back there on the shoulder, it's probably, there's a Cybertruck, maybe wrapped in white. Interesting. Basically, revising that data, tweaking it as this road construction goes on, and allowing, like I said, vehicles equipped with SuperCruise to navigate this zone. But it's nice that it alerts you up on the dashboard that there is indeed construction, but the system is still engaged. Very, very impressive stuff. Overall, I'm not disappointed by the performance of the system. I'm actually more impressed than anything. But what's frustrating to me is, why was it disengaging, or why does it disengage randomly during a lane change and not at least complete the lane change or put you back into your lane before starting to slow you down, before basically making you take full control of the vehicle? That's just bizarre to me, and it really should not work that way. If the system doesn't have the mapping, it should default into using the cameras and sensors on the vehicle, just like other manufacturers do for their lane centering, to, you know, complete your lane change, put you back into the right lane, whatever may be going on at that time it disengages. So you're not in this weird, awkward position where you got to immediately like step on the throttle so the vehicle doesn't start rapidly slowing down and steering back to wherever you wanted to go. It's just a very bizarre scenario, and it shouldn't happen like that. So yeah, overall, I mean, SuperCruise through construction zone, it works. Glad to report that. SuperCruise disengaging, take control of the vehicle. No road information. And it's just like randomly, like, why is there no road information? Like, I find it hard to believe that there's road information 10 feet prior to that point, but then there's no road information right there. And then if I go to engage it, now it says still no road information. So I don't understand, I guess I don't understand why that is and why the system can't, you know, basically operate on its own for a period of time between road informations, if that makes sense. Now SuperCruise available again. Like, what in the world? I don't get it. No, it's trying to change lanes and there's cones over there, bro. What the heck? Okay, so I went ahead and found the charging menu here on the infotainment system. It has limited availability while driving, but basically energy usage thus far, there's our quick statistics. You can see 1%, 1.5 kilowatt hours for climate and battery preconditioning. Now, we have not started battery preconditioning yet, but I probably will do that sometime around the Rivian plant between the drive from there to Peoria and our charge stop. You can see it's 44 degrees outside, so I assume the battery is probably in the mid to upper, maybe around 50 degree range, but it's likely pretty chilly. And I like how you can go ahead and actually precondition manually on here. It says not ready for DC fast charging, optimal performance. And you can actually specify the preconditioning temperature over here if you do want to, all the way down to 61 degrees Fahrenheit, which other EVs out there do not allow you to do. And you can go all the way up to, looks like upper 80s if you really want to. I don't know, 88. So yeah. We'll go ahead and leave it at the default 72 degrees right there. And yeah, we'll go ahead and keep you guys updated. But basically all you gotta do, start battery preconditioning right there, and you should be ready to go. Hopefully, like I said, it has enough time to precondition, but it's not ultra cold outside, so I'm not too concerned about it. But it would be nice to have at least, you know, a mid 60s or, you know, near 70 degree battery by the time we plug into the Tesla Supercharger network. Alrighty, I'm going to apologize for the wind noise. It's absolutely terrible out here in the middle of nowhere, and it's freezing. But I just want to come over here. They got all the lights up around here. There's an electric vehicle, level 2 charging station. There's all different types of vehicles. And my favorite part is they got the R1T over here, the main here, and an R1S over here as well. I assume there's going to be Gen 2, but I don't know for a fact. I'm not like in on the latest and greatest Rivian type stuff. Pretty cool facility here. Glad I got to stop by. Check it out. Pretty cool to see this charging setup out here. Shout out to whoever drives these with manufacturer plates. Tesla, even have Mach-E. Got a Volt right there. That's pretty cool. Second gen. I think there's a Hyundai Ioniq 5 and Genesis Electric down there as well. Pretty cool stuff. Obviously, we've got the Hummer that we're taking back to the Quad Cities. Oh, freezing out there. Got 30% stated charge, and yeah, pretty cool welcome animation here. But yeah, very excited to check out this facility, maybe in a little bit more detail in the future. Go ahead and start preconditioning. We are only like 34 miles away. Getting ready for preconditioning. You can plug in at any time. Interesting here, gives you some insider tips here. Pro tip, will also enhance acceleration in cold and cool weather. Alrighty guys, I know it's dark, but we're pulling up to the Superchargers here, and it looks like
your destination is on the left.
Are gonna be some stalls that are appropriate for Hummer. I'll get some quick trip statistics for you guys here. Still 1.1 miles per kilowatt hour. Go ahead and take a quick photo of that here at the charge. Looks like we arrived at like 18 or 17%. So if we go into our preconditioning, our energy menu here, you'll see during our last trip from Rivian, 34 miles, that 3% or 1 kilowatt hours went to preconditioning and climate control. Rest went to driving. We did not finish DC fast charge battery preconditioning. It recommends 30 minutes or more depending on the ambient temperatures. I have a feeling we're pretty darn close because it's not for like super cold outside. So basically just take the GM approved adapter, click it in place. It will snap in via a latch on the back side right there. And then you go ahead and plug it into your vehicle's CCS port. Like I said, I do need to, you can see it's communicating right now, but I do need to go ahead and put some money or my credit card on file for the actual Tesla app to get this station going. But it looks like we're in 1D, so it should be very easy to remember. But yeah, this is actually a very ideal situation here for at least Hummer, but it has it on the same side as Tesla does. But there's these pull-through stations. As you can see, there's motion LED lights, and it's bizarre to see nobody here at the Superchargers. I think this is a newer location, but obviously still not the V4, so it's, you know, got some age to it, but it's not too old compared to some sites. So this is interesting here. It actually says station power is coming back up, but it was, there it goes. Finally I can hear it ramping up, but yeah, it was going very slow at first. I'm not exactly sure why that was, but looks like now we are pulling some decent speeds. And again, I'm not exactly sure what that was for about a minute or two. It's making some interesting noises. It almost sounded like the cooling of the Tesla station, or maybe something with the vehicle. Not exactly sure, but we are now pulling 174 kilowatts, which isn't terrible. I don't know what the temperature of the battery is. Obviously, it's not available anymore since we're plugged in and charging, but 174 is not too bad. All things considered. Obviously it's nowhere near the peak 350 plus that this vehicle is capable of, but it might be maxing out the charger with the 500 volt whatever amperage limitation. Not exactly sure if the pack split or not for these charging sessions, but I'll take 175 kilowatts at less than 20%. Should get us on the road relatively quickly, although with this massive battery pack, it's certainly going to take much longer than that Tesla Model 3 over there that did just pull up. Now, one thing I will say about using the Tesla app for a non-Tesla is it was extremely simple once my payment and address and all that was updated. But, the screen that it gives you with the information, I don't know if you guys can see that all that well. State of charge, top and center with a little bar, charging fees, current charging rate, energy delivered, and duration of the session, and then with a little stop charge at the very bottom. It's all extremely easy to read. So this is exactly how the other apps need to behave. Oh my gosh, guys. I probably should have just went and subscribed for the membership for $13 a month to save some money, but that was like 133 kilowatt hours of energy. It was over $76 for that at the 57 cents a kilowatt hour rate. Oh my gosh, that is extremely expensive. It's just like, I know this is a huge battery pack, but once you get above a certain rate of public charging, it makes less and less financial sense. So that is expensive. I'm not paying for it, thankfully, but holy cow, that is a crazy amount. And I'm not even that far in excess of what I need to get home. A little tired here, but just made it home. 91.5 miles. It was actually hovering between 0.9 and 1 miles per kilowatt hour just at the end there. Finally ticked up and stayed at 1.0, but pretty crazy to see 0.9. Anyways, 87 miles you can see over here, and 34-ish% state of charge. I won't know until I turn the car off and open the door. But overcharged by probably 15% at that Tesla Supercharger. I really want to get home with at least 20%, but clearly 34, 35, whatever it's at is more than I needed for that drive. So I stayed there for, 10, 15 minutes too long plugged in charging. But at the end of the day, not a big deal. Allowed me to do full speed, no problem, all the way back home. And in terms of some of our efficiency numbers over here, climate control used 1.7 kilowatt hours, and then the rest went to the drivetrain. Obviously nothing for remote. And it actually says DC fast charge preconditioning is not ready Even I checked that shortly after unplugging. I was actually surprised it didn't get warm enough to say, you know, fast charge ready or whatever. But anyways, that is going to be it. Oh, one other thing I want to show you guys. Total trip summary. 297.2 miles, 1.1 miles per kilowatt hour. That did not change. So yeah, that is pretty much going to do it. I'm sure I'm going to have a follow-up clip to this, you know, tomorrow after I drop the vehicle off and do everything I need to with it. But very interesting first impressions, not only on SuperCruise, the efficiency on today's day due to ambient, you know, external conditions, and the shape of this vehicle being a brick. But definitely a lot of thoughts to comb over and think about overnight. But I will catch you guys in the morning and wrap up this video.
Alrighty guys, so you joined me a couple days later and I just wanted to quickly wrap up my experience road tripping this Hummer EV pickup truck over about 300 miles. Now, as you guys saw at the end of this video, efficiency was not good in any leg or any portion of the trip whatsoever due to not only what the vehicle is, but also the external ambient conditions with a, you know, roughly 30-mile-an-hour headwind or more at times depending on the gusts. So when you put those two factors together, it was literally a recipe for some of the worst efficiency for an electric vehicle that you can really ever achieve, whether towing or not towing. You know, 1.0 or 1.1, whatever you want to go with, is just very, very poor efficiency. Now, leaning into that a little bit more, as we know, the Hummer, this one is equipped with the 24 larger module battery pack, which has a rough usable capacity of 212 kilowatt hours. Gross is actually much higher than this, so you can probably pull out a little bit more energy than that. But using just 212 for math's sake. Now, if we use the 1.1, which we got, that would give us a total usable range of roughly 233 miles. Now, as we know, I went basically 205 and had roughly, I think, 15% left in the pack. So that does add up in the mass there in that rough calculation. Now, this was a 298-mile total road trip that we took, and this Hummer is actually rated to go higher than that. So in theory, all things considered, in the best efficiency case, you can make this trip without charging from one destination, to the other. So if we use 212 times 1.5, that gives us 318 miles of estimated usable range. And I truly do believe, had we not seen that headwind, we possibly could have done this trip at 70 to 73, 74 miles an hour. I drove about 73 to 74 the entire way with SuperCruise or without SuperCruise where possible. We did have a few construction zones, but all in all, I think it would be possible with calm wind or a tailwind. That would even help more to make this journey on one single charge, which is really to the benefit of this massive battery pack that all Hummers are equipped with, but you can upgrade that from the 20 module to the 24 module just to give you that little bit of additional range and charging curve and things like that. But the experience road tripping the Hummer was fantastic. This one was equipped with the off-road package, which adds the all-terrain tires, the smaller wheel diameter, stuff like that. And it still handled the wind and the interstate quite well, although it was quite noisy given the whistling of the wind through the tops and the rumble from the all-terrain tires. Those are really the two main gripes, but the Bose stereo was phenomenal, and I really wish they would engineer some of their other premium audio systems to be similar to that one, because the power behind the system as well as the quality was actually extremely good and helped make that road trip over the several hours just that much easier. But I really don't have too much to say. Tesla Supercharger network worked as expected. You sign into the app, you add your payment method, you select a non-EV plug-in and select to charge, and it just starts charging. Now, as you guys saw in this video, we got up to about 175 kilowatts of DC charge speed. And after doing a very quick amount of research on the internet, I think that's near the peak possible currently with the Hummer EV on Tesla Supercharger V3's network that are compatible with adapters. I saw somebody getting in the mid 180 kilowatt range, but I think, you know, right around that 180 kilowatt range is really what you would expect to get plugging into Tesla Supercharger network, which is roughly half of the peak speeds that the Hummer and, you know, some of these other GM Ultium vehicles are capable of, including Silverado and Sierra EV. But I think 180, and it held a lot of that speed, you know, through my entire charge session. It did drop down to, I think, just below 150 towards the end. But that's really not terrible speeds. It's just due to the massive battery pack that this vehicle is I sat there for 52 minutes and I put in a substantial, you know, amount of energy, 133 kilowatt hours, but that was nowhere near the entire, battery pack size. We still had over 25% to go. So that's the biggest drawback, I think, using Supercharger network, at least if you're only expecting 180 kilowatts of charge speed, is going to be, due to the size of the pack, the charge time that is required at those speeds. Now, if you're using a CCS station with, you know, higher voltage station, it splits the pack of the Hummer, etc., then I think it's obviously going to be a much better experience, and one that you would probably want to tend to use more than Tesla's network, but it is an option at this point to use Tesla's network if you do so choose. So I think I'm pretty much going to leave it at that. Was a very positive experience. SuperCruise really was a little bit disappointing, but on the other hand was extremely impressive with what it was able to do, and the amount of time that I was able to actually have SuperCruise enabled. I think if you take out the 10 to 15 issues I had with it, where it either disengaged, didn't do the lane change properly, was in the construction zone, stuff like that, I would say all but maybe 20 to 30 minutes were using SuperCruise on this, you know, over 3-hour road trip. So yeah, definitely made the drive much easier, much more tolerable, and is something that I would look for in a GM vehicle if I were to purchase one brand new and that model is enabled or has the capability of being equipped with SuperCruise. So like I said, I think I'm just going to leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you want to know any other details that I did not answer here in this video or at the end of this video, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section. I will do my best to answer them. This Hummer is going to be available for sale at Green Buick GMC in Davenport, Iowa, if you guys are interested. I will go ahead and leave a link to that vehicle down in the description below if you guys are all interested. But I appreciate you guys watching and giving me these opportunities to take these vehicles on road trips like this. Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed it and or found something helpful. Subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to check out some other Ultium content I have on the channel, including taking a Blazer EV on a 1,000-mile road trip. Now, granted, there are some little asterisks as needed. That was on an initial software build. Did run into a little bit of issues with that, but things have improved since I made that video, but it is still very good content, and I think ultimately gives you a realistic idea as to what to expect out there in the real world. But overall, like I said, I appreciate support. Leave your comments and stuff down in the comment section below. And as always, hope to see you guys in the next one.